Hi, Ms. Benzie. This is your Math Talks here in your Quantitative Literacy Online class. I'm Bailey, and we have 3 more students in this video.
All right. Hi, I'm Billy Walters.
Hi, I'm Joshua Vann.
Hi, I'm Drew Galloway.
Okay.
And we're going to be showing you our report in a slideshow.
All right, and then tonight we're going to start off with some questions, and I am going to start off asking Joshua a question, if that's all right. Joshua, what does the exponent mean in a scientific notation?
The exponent explains the value either being a really large number or a really small number. The Zoom app, it showed multiple representations of scientific notation. The smaller the exponent, the smaller the material. The larger the exponent, the bigger the item. And exponent is shorthand for making a number duplicate without expanding it.
Okay.
All right. Bailey.
Yes.
When looking at your graphs and your financial report, you can see that one could construct a model sorry, of your current model that would change.
Okay, so being able to edit your current graph is important, just in case you really use these to follow your goals. As you can see in the graph that I represented, it shows a chart and a graph that shows increasing numbers from coming from a negative standpoint. Numbers can change, so it's important to allow yourself plenty of space on graphs and charts to add or delete numbers. This type of report outlines very important numbers in one's financial position. These numbers change from year to year basis because life happens and one never knows if they could possibly move or change careers that offer more pay.
Thank you.
Okay, Drew, you have a question?
Yes. Just a minute here.
Okay.
Mine is to Billy. Are there different types of bar graphs?
Yes, there are different type of bar graphs, which I did not know that, but after doing some research for my Excel report, I learned that there was. There are several different types of graphs. There are horizontal bar graphs, whose dependent variables is shown on the horizontal scale. The length of the bar is proportional to the quantity to be presented, and all the bars go across from left to right. Another one is a vertical graph, and these are useful for times of series of data, and the space for labels on the x-axis is small, and it usually is used for years, minutes, and hours or months. Then there's the line graph. It is used to visualize the value of something over time, and the line graph has a horizontal x-axis and a vertical y-axis. Most line graphs only deal with positive number values, so these axes are typically intersect near the bottom of the y-axis and the left end of the x-axis. I know it's a lot to take in, but yeah, there's different types of bar graphs.
Alrighty.
Okay. All right. So my question is for Bailey.
Yes.
Bailey, how would you explain your first graph in your financial report?
In my first graph,
Mm-hmm.
as you can see, there's a diagram with two variables, each measured along of a pair of axes at right angles. These were recommended from Excel. It has an option that pops up when one highlights information in their chart.
Mm-hmm.
Excel is a very complex program, but it does have some beneficial sources to it.
Right. Complex, I agree, but I think that once we master it, we're going to love it, right? Okay.
All right. So,
Okay.
Is my turn?
Bailey, yes.
All right, so I have a question for Billy, and the question is, what are the advantages of using tables, charts, and graphs to help you organize and manage your time?
Let's see. Are you sure that was my question?
I'm sorry. One question. What are pie charts used for?
Okay. Now that one I can answer because I did study up on that. The other one I probably could have, but it's late at night. Okay, so a pie chart is a type of graph in which a circle is divided into sectors that each represent a proportion of a whole. It is used to illustrate the ratio of data and is a part of a group. The proportions will be shown as units or percentages in the pie graph, or some people call it pizza graph because it looks like a pizza round. So.
Nice.
Okay. Drew?
My next one's for Josh. What is a bell curve?
All right. Give me 1 sec. A bell curve is a visual representation of standard deviation on a chart. The name of the chart is due to the shape actually looking like a bell. The normal or mean is at the highest point in the curve. We use the bell curve in our data for the university scholars' sleep patterns and compared the number of hours they slept using standard deviation to show the data being distributed.
Okay.
Drew, why are the data points closer in one than the other?
So I based mine off of week 2. And on week 2, you'll notice that all the Army recruits are pretty much closer together in height, and whereas the random mall shoppers are really spread out. And the reason is because when you're choosing at like a random or type of ordeal, you can get some people that may be smaller and some people that may be even taller than an average person. Whereas I'm not really for sure about this, but I believe that the Army has at least a height requirement. And so that's why they all look pretty much close to the same. It's because of the height requirement.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. My next question is going to be for you, Drew. Okay. What do we use to shorten numbers to big and to small?
So what we use, and it's really, I kind of wrote that wrong, but it's actually going to be what we use to express short numbers and bigger numbers. And we use scientific notation. It helps us to express the ones that are way too big and way too small, so we can conveniently write it in decimal form.
Okay. Thank you. Josh?
Billy, what is a pie chart?
I have already answered that one.
Okay. What are the segments of a pie chart?
Okay, the segments of a pie chart I can answer for you, and I don't mind answering the what is a pie chart again. But the segments of a pie chart represent a particular category. Each segment is the same proportion of a circle as the category is of a total data set. All the pie charts represent a whole amount that equals 100%. If you were to take a slice of pie or pizza, as some call it, like I said before, and add it all up, add up all the percentages, it would equal 100%.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right, and I have a question for Josh.
Okay.
And it is, what does skewed mean for a graph?
Skew means the type of graph where the data is represented. A graph skewed right means the data is on the right or on the left. A graph skewed to the left means the data is on the right. Left skewed is usually negative, and a right skew is positive. Like on my data from my personal chart, it is skewed to the right.
Nice. Very good.
Okay. Drew.
My question is for Bailey. What conclusion can you draw about the difference in your charts in your Excel financial report?
Good question.
All right, so my charts are typically all cluster charts. They are typically more detailed than the 2D charts. Also, the forms are created with a row and column that involve numbers. This creates a data series that one can easily read and execute a conclusion. So each graph has different scenarios, so each graph is going to have a different conclusion.
Okay. All right. I'm going to ask Joshua a question now.
Okay.
Okay. What is the standard deviation?
All right. Standard deviation is a way to measure data by a norm or a spread of data. Low numbers are closer to the mean and higher numbers are further from the mean. As the Army recruits' mean height was 6 feet 7 inches, 68% of the data is one standard deviation. 95% is two standard deviations, then 99.7% is three standard deviations from the mean.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Drew, why would someone give you misleading graphs?
Okay. I put they would give you misleading graphs because a lot of people, like, especially like if you get big businesses, they'll try to kind of lie to you and say that they have a it's one more up.
That one, I'm sorry. Is that one it? Yes.
It's okay.
Okay. I'm trying
Yeah. So so this one was from also from week 2, and where the Cartera is, they're saying that theirs was 4.5%. When we actually measured it out, it was actually 13.7%. So they were saying that they had that they take up a smaller amount of space, therefore saying it looks better on them when in actuality they take up more space than they're telling us. So they'll give us misinformation in order to do that.
Okay. All right. My next question is to Bailey, and it's about the scale of the universe video, which I thought that was really neat. I don't know if y'all were excited about it as I was, but I had never seen that before. So I was pretty excited to see all that. So Bailey, what can you say about the object that stood out the most to you in the scale of the universe?
All right, so yes, the scale of the universe is really cool because I Googled more videos of that, and I was able to like use my fingers to zoom in to like
how cool
an ant to Saturn.
Uh-huh.
And so, but my answer to this report is I explained that the oak tree in the scale stood out to me most because I enjoy studying trees. The scale, also the ratio of the length in a drawing or model, that's like the definition of it, that is shown in the first Excel report, gives a very good visual of how different in sizes objects are. So it really does, because if you watch the video, you can see how big certain things are compared to other objects. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, I thought it was neat. Joshua and Drew, did y'all enjoy that?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
All right.
Right. And I have a video, or not a video, I have a question for Josh.
Okay.
And what is a parabola?
Parabola is the shape of a graph that is from of a graph from a quartile equation or quadratic equation, or it has a curved shape, arch, that looks like a U, just like the cells we grafted for the flamethrowers. The point where the curve changes directions is the vertex. The line that passes through the vertex is the axis of symmetry.
Okay. Very good.
All right.
Bailey, you just did yours. So Josh, you're next, right?
Drew, what is a z-score and how do I find mine?
So a z-score is the number of the standard deviations from mean of adaptation. I think it's one more down past 25.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks for
so
telling
if you
me that.
look on here, if you look at here, we're right at 6.7. The yellow line is all of your z-scores, and specifically for this z-score, it would be say I got about 4 to 5 hours of sleep, so I'd come on here and look on the blue line to tell me what score that is. So 4.67 would be relatively close to 5. So my z-score would be -1.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, Drew, do you have a question?
Yeah, mine's for Bailey. When you're looking at your graphs in your financial report, you can see that one could construct a model or edit your current model that would change.
All right, let's see here.
Do you know
actually
what
did
number?
that one. Let's see here. I actually did that one already.
You already did that one already? Okay.
Yeah. I have number 6 available.
Okay. What data was used to make the nutritional conclusion about your products you consume on a daily represented on your graph?
All right. So I used the information from the back of the products I used to ensure I was giving accurate information. These nutrition labels are crucial when one is following a strict food intake guideline. The most important ingredient that I look for is protein. When cutting your calorie intake in half, you're going to drop weight and you may have loose skin. Well, when you eat or drink protein, it helps one tighten their skin up. It's a very crucial building block of repairing one's body. And the picture I used is just a Google image to show you a nutrition label.
Mm-hmm. Good. Okay. So my question is, I've got one more for Drew. Okay, Drew, what is the possibility of being obese and having high blood pressure?
This one will also go back to our week 2 assignment on scenario 3, and this is with the Venn diagrams. I believe it was 23.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Is that good?
So if you look on here, we actually had to go ahead and our assignment was to find that out. And if you look on the first one, you can see about the ones right between the obese and high blood pressure. If you put those two together, you'll have 52.5 million people would have it.
Yeah.
And that equates to 16.1% of people are obese and have high blood pressure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
All right. Let's see.
Drew,
Is it my turn?
Mm-hmm. Do you have one for me, Drew? Number 5.
Yeah, I can. I think that one was the one that she had. Let me find it again.
It was the one that she had, and yes, you're correct.
I can ask it if you want me to.
Whoever.
What are bar graphs good for?
Okay. Bar graphs definitely have some advantages because when using them, their ability is to represent data that shows changes over time, whereas like pie charts only represent data. So a bar graph is good for visual learners. So, if you use a bar graph, it's, over time, and the pie chart is not. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I've asked all my questions.
Okay.
Left to answer.
Yeah, I have one left to answer.
I have one
It'd
left.
be number.
I'm showing I haven't answered 2 and 4, Bailey. Do you see that on your side?
Let's see here.
No, I have. No, I have answered 2 and 4.
Yeah.
Okay, then all mine are done. Bailey, are all yours?
Believe so.
Josh, did we get all 6 of yours?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Who needs to ask? Who has your question?
I can ask.
Okay, thank you, Drew.
Which one was it? Was it number?
Should be the second one.
What does skew mean for a graph?
No, it's what is a quartile?
Oh, what does a quartile mean with measures of central tendency?
Quartile breaks data into different groups. Quartile 1 is the middle value between the smallest value and the median. The second quartile is the median. The third quartile is the middle value between the median and the highest value. All data is divided by the data, just like our chart on the mall shopper's heights.
Okay.
And Drew, have you answered what is a break-even point?
No, I haven't. A break-even point is the production level where total revenues equals total experiences. Oh, and my slide's the very last one. It should be 25.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Um,
Or 26, my bad.
okay, 26.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the break-even point is actually going to be right where that smiley face is. And basically what it is where you don't have, you made enough money to cover your initial investment, but you haven't made any money to go above that or gain any money. So that would be right there at the break-even point. So everything you make after the break-even point would be the money that goes back to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I need a flamethrower.
We could probably all use one at this point.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. Okay. So does anyone have any more questions or answers?
I believe that is it.
I believe that is it. Okay. And then I want to apologize for not keeping up with the slideshow. This is new to me, but I will promise to get better at it if I'm in charge of the slideshow. So I do apologize for that part. That is totally my fault, Miss Benzie. Okay. So, all right. Does anyone have anything left to say?
I don't.
All right, guys. I guess till next time.
Yes.
All right. Good night.
Have a
Good
one.
night.
All right. Good night, Miss Benzie. Bye.
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 Bye.